Good morning and welcome to the annual YMCA breakfast. My name is Madrow and I'm proud to be the state representative here in East Boston and also proud to have served on the board of the YMCA for a number of years. Normally, there would be 500 of us together in a room celebrating the YMCA and the incredible impact that it has on people across the East Boston community. But of course, this is now the second year in a row where we have to do this remotely due to public health guidelines because of the COVID pandemic. But that does not make today's event any less special. And in fact, the YMCA over the course of this pandemic has really shown that we are stronger together here in East Boston. And the YMCA quickly pivoted during the pandemic to address food insecurity and emergency childcare, and really became a cornerstone institution for how we as a community got through the COVID pandemic. The Y has supported dozens of East Boston community nonprofits with food assistance supply. And in fact, 75% of the food distributed in East Boston during the pandemic flowed through the East Boston YMCA. To date, the Y has given out over 200,000 pantry bags, and they've even opened up recently a 20,000 square foot warehouse on McClellan Highway in East Boston to address food insecurity, not just in East Boston, but across the region. And I could not be more proud of the way the Y has stepped up for the East Boston community during COVID. Now, on emergency childcare, the Y was the only emergency childcare center in East Boston that was opened at the height of the pandemic, offering free care for frontline workers ages 15 months to 13 years old. And over the course of those 5 months, the Y served 110 children for emergency childcare. So whether it was addressing food insecurity, whether it was helping people stay in the workforce by ensuring that their children had childcare, the Y stepped up in a major way and really showed once again that we as a community are stronger together. And the Y distributed over $80,000 in direct payments to the community to help cover the cost of rent and bills for our neighbors in East Boston. And some of that money was specifically directed to frontline workers and staff of the East Boston Neighborhood Health Center, who did an incredible job keeping our community safe and healthy during the COVID-19 pandemic. As you all know, the Y is an incredibly safe place for everyone, regardless of ability to pay or citizenship status. The Y never closes its doors to a member of our community. And there's no doubt that the Y is a strong partner to the East Boston community, often filling gaps when needed, whether it's promoting youth and social development, active, healthy living, connections between neighbors. The Y and the staff of the Y, led by the incredible executive director, Joey Gaeta, and I want to just give a shout out and note of gratitude to Joey and all his staff at the Y, who do incredible work each and every day. But through that work, there's no doubt that we're stronger together. And their work helps our community be more resilient as we recover from this pandemic. They facilitate connections between neighbors. They provide opportunities for young people and our seniors alike. They focus on collaboration across community organizations, which was really shown with the food distribution to fight the food insecurity we were dealing with during the pandemic. And the Y really does offer a powerful hope of what can be for young people in our community when we work together and we prioritize the things that folks in our community need. Thank you all so much for your support of the East Boston Y. It's only through your financial support that this organization is able to make such a tremendous impact on youth and families across East Boston. So please, folks, reach down deep into those pockets today and give as much as you can. And I can assure you that your donation will go directly to support members of our community. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you in person next year. Next, we'll be hearing from a good friend and an incredible advocate for our communities, James Morton, President and CEO of the Greater Boston YMCA. Thank you.
So Adrian Madrow, thank you very much for that very kind introduction. We appreciate all that you do on behalf of all the citizens of East Boston and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Let's give Adrian a round of applause. Thank you, Adrian. We appreciate you. My name is James Morton. I'm the President and CEO of the YMCA of Greater Boston, and I am so happy to be with you this morning. I apologize that our format is virtual, but we'll be back together in the same room soon. Speaking of the pandemic and the reason why we're not together, it has been an incredible 20 months that we've all experienced. And during that time, because of your support, because of your partnership, and because of your encouragement, we've been able to respond to one emergent need after another. The first was food, and I'll share with you that by the end of December, we will have delivered more than 12 million meals to children, families, and seniors in the Greater Boston community. That would not have been possible without your support and the support of our many partners. The best example I can give you is we've got 13 branches, yet we delivered food at over 100 locations. And that tells you how many organizations opened their doors to allow us to make food available to those that they served. The next emergent need was providing care, loving care to the children of essential workers. Those workers who were doing day in and day out those things we needed them to do to keep our lives at least in some semblance of order. And we had the opportunity to provide care to their children at 12 different locations. And then along came remote learning. We created 25 community learning centers where children could get their remote lessons, be provided with enrichment, social emotional learning opportunities, physical exercise and fun, and food for 45 hours a week for free to their parents, the parents of working families, allowing those parents to earn a living and sustain themselves and their families financially. And then during the summer, we provided during the last 2 summers more than 250,000 hours of employment, meaningful employment opportunities to the teenagers in our community, allowing them to build the skills and the relationships that we had the benefit of building when we were their age, skills that are transferable that we use each and every day. And so while the pandemic did create some difficulties for all of us, it also gave us the opportunity to come together as a community to support each other and to take care of each other. Because as we said throughout, we're stronger together. And so that's just the start of it. And so now you're going to hear from the incomparable executive director of the East Boston YMCA, Joe Gaeta. And he's going to tell you what his branch has been able to do in this East Boston community.
Thank you, James and Rep. Madrow. Growing up in East Boston, one thing was clear to me. We help each other out. This place is the epitome of community. When the pandemic hit, we didn't hesitate. We made the pivot to start securing life-sustaining services immediately. That's what the East EY does. We step up. So many in our community depend on us for so many things. The support we receive from our donors is crucial to our success. I would like to thank our presenting sponsor, Cargo Ventures, for making sure that our Y is able to continue these services for East Boston. The Y is more than just a typical gym and swim. It's a safe place for our children and community. The impact of COVID-19 on the community has been devastating. We had the highest rate of infection in the city most of the time, but our community did not crumble. We came together, all nonprofits, and started to fill in gaps so that our families could survive. Before the pandemic, the Y was in full motion, with 3 locations and housed in so many public schools, providing quality programs to our community. 1 in every 3 youth in East Boston was involved in a Y program. We are quickly working to meet that capacity again as the world starts to reopen. You have heard some of the tremendous work we did with food and childcare at the start of the pandemic, but we provided so much more. We hosted 100 safe wellness activities for the community free of charge at our local parks and Constitution Beach this past summer. We restarted our youth sports programs and brought T-Well back to Eastie for 70 children. We hosted summer jobs for 2 full summers that were safe for our teens, most of which it was their first job. We pumped direct money into the pockets of our community to help pay with rent or bills. This was no easy feat. We depend on our community support to make sure we are here for good. You have already heard some of the great community leaders talk about the work that we have done. You will hear more about the countless impact the East Boston Y has had during the pandemic. I ask that you support our efforts in any way you can by using the Text to Give feature. Next up is our City Councilor, Lydia Edwards, who has been a strong advocate for the East Boston Y.
Hi everyone, my name is Lydia Edwards. I am the City Councilor for East Boston, Charlestown, and the North End. I'm also an East Boston resident and I live up the street from the YMCA. It's a continued honor to come out and support the YMCA for East Boston. It's mostly because when I think about the Y and the services that it gives to so many children and families, I think about my own mom, I think about my own childhood. You know, my mother raised me and my twin sister by herself. And what that meant is in many cases, she needed a Y. And that means you need a community within a community that takes care of our kids. And I was one of those Y kids. I was the kid who came after school. I was the infant who was taking nap time. I was all of those things so my mother could work. And the best part, I think, about that community is I never felt anything but love and care. And that's all I see. Every morning when I come out to run, and I run past the Y, and I see the little ones in the tot lot, I see beautiful children excited to be there. I see them jumping up and down as they're going to the Y. This is their home away from home. And what I love especially about this home is it represents all of our kids. Different languages, different backgrounds, they just all feel loved. So I'm happy to be not only one of the representatives of East Boston, but to be a fighter and representative for this particular Y location. I think the best thing about the Y is how much it's been able to get done throughout this entire pandemic. Never closed, kept going, and I think what really speaks to it is that it's really the center of so much community activism as well. For example, working with Mutual Aid Eastie, that's a lot of us just neighbors coming together to help each other, and the Y worked with Mutual Aid Eastie to honestly give out more meals and to meet more people where they are. We work with Be Good, a local restaurant, to make sure that we actually provided hot meals to kids. And then one of my most excited things that I saw happen was working with Spinelli's and the Shaw Foundation to make sure kids got hot meals as well. I think when you think about all the people putting in hands together, there's one constant theme. They came to the Y. Because the Y is, it's the place for all of us. Personally, I can't wait till we get back to normal. But I also know deep down inside that even on that long road back to normal, the Y will be there. Y will be there for all of us. So, good to see you all, sort of, through this way, in this new normal. Councilor Lydia Edwards.
Thank you for joining our 2021 virtual East Boston YMCA breakfast event. My name is Karen Rivas, a board member of East Boston YMCA and an East Boston resident. We might be meeting virtually today, but I can assure you that we will feel how our community came strong together and learned to live through the pandemic. The East Boston Y never closed its doors during the pandemic, being a tremendous blessing for our community. Today, I am proud to stand before you, not only as a board member, but also as a Y family, celebrating the real meaning of strong together. The Y became the cornerstone of our family when I was diagnosed with an aggressive cancer 11 years ago. The Y never hesitated to help my family financially and with the care of my 15-month-old baby, now 10, and the care of his siblings right away while I was going through several surgeries and treatment. It was a very tough road, not only emotionally, but also financially. I was blessed to come with loving family, friends, and the East Boston YMCA. I will never forget the YMCA hallways greetings, the words of encouragement. Karen, you're strong. You can do this. Today, I can happily say I'm cancer-free. The YMCA works to make sure that every child, family, and community has what they need to achieve their best. And I am here as an example. I had a second chance in life, and it is my turn to help the community and make sure this organization continues its important work to strengthen our community. The Y gave me the opportunity to become a board member. I became part of the Y's mission, changing people's lives. The Y has been a life-changing experience for me and my family. So yes, my story was unique because they did help me when we most needed it with the cancer. And like I said, it doesn't only hit you emotionally, but then it hits you financially. I had to stop working. It was a disaster. Sergio was born in April, and I was diagnosed with cancer right in May. It was happening at the same time. I had a high-risk pregnancy, not knowing that my high-risk pregnancy was due to the cancer. So everything was going on at the same time. And because of that, Sergio was born premature. He was born at 32 weeks. So Sergio started here at the Y when he was 15 months old. The Y immediately noticed there was something that Sergio was not getting clear. And yes, we did find out that Sergio had a slow processing and a short-term memory. It was because of the Y that we were able to help him with the development. And early on, yes. The sooner you find any disabilities in an early stage on a child, it is critical and it's important for a child's development. So in Sergio's case, in work in his behalf, and this was thanks to the Y. Thanks to those teachers that really care and support us, not only through my journey with the cancer, but also to the development of Sergio. He was also here on a program, on a special program, kindergarten program, that it was for East Boston residents. So they did prepare him very well for kindergarten, so he wouldn't feel behind or left different than any other kids. They also built up his self-esteem. So Sergio knew that he was different, but Sergio knows that being different, it's a beautiful thing. He knew how important the Y was for him in his development and his growing, So he learned a lot of things. It brought a lot of strengths to him. Focusing on his strengths was important for us as a family, and we couldn't have done it either if it wasn't for the support of the Y.
When we talk about wellness, we look at the mind, body, and spirit here at the East Boston Y. We are not your typical gym and swim that most are used to. We look at wellness as physical and mental for all ages. The traditional wellness offerings are important to us here at the Y, but we also offer more in regards to targeted wellness. We offer totally free of charge programs like Live Strong for cancer survivors and Y diabetes prevention that allows for a more personalized approach to wellness. We offer dedicated active older adults programs that work towards giving our community longevity and better flexibility. The pandemic has taken its toll on the physical and mental well-being of so many. Making sure our teens have access to mindfulness opportunities and a safe place to be themselves is so important at this time. At the Y, we've created a safe and clean place for members to come back to wellness. We moved classes outside and installed air purification systems to adapt to the situation. As we reopened, we implemented one of the strictest protocols in cleaning in order to keep our community safe. We know that as the world opens more, access to quality wellness opportunities is very important for rebuilding, and we are ready to meet that challenge. We look forward to listening more to the community about what their needs are so that we have a better targeted approach to building better resilience for all. So every year, our breakfast ends with a performance from one of our preschool classrooms. And while we can't be with you in person, we'd love to bring you some of that today.
You're